step into the dark, fog-choked streets of Victorian London. In the year 1888, a shadow fell over the city, a name that would be whispered in fear for centuries to come. This is the story of Jack the Ripper, history's most notorious and elusive serial killer. Imagine the Whitechapel district, a place where poverty was rampant, and gas lamps cast long, dancing shadows down narrow, grimy alleys. This was the hunting ground. At a time when life was already incredibly harsh for the people of London's East End, an unprecedented terror began. A series of brutal murders, so shocking in their violence, captured the attention of the entire world. But what made these crimes truly terrifying wasn't just the brutality. It was the chilling fact that the killer was a ghost. He was never caught. Jack the Ripper's targets were women living on the margins of society, struggling every day just to survive. His attacks were not random acts of violence. They were swift, calculated, and horrifically precise. The victims were discovered with severe mutilations, leading many to believe the killer had some form of anatomical or surgical knowledge. He wasn't just a murderer. He was a predator who seemed to understand the human body in the most gruesome way. The media of the day, the penny dreadfuls and daily newspapers, seized upon the story. They spread panic with every edition, printing graphic, sensationalized accounts of the crimes. London was gripped by a collective paranoia. People looked at their neighbors with suspicion. Trust in the police, who seemed powerless to stop the killings, began to crumble. The fear was palpable. Anyone, it seemed, could be next. Then came the letters. A series of taunting, arrogant messages began arriving at police stations and news agencies. Some were signed with the now infamous name, Jack the Ripper. These letters mocked the authorities, gloating about the crimes and promising more to come. One particularly chilling package contained what was claimed to be half of a human kidney, supposedly taken from one of the victims. The note accompanying it began with the horrifying words, "From hell." To this day, historians debate the authenticity of these letters. Were they genuine messages from the killer or cruel hoaxes designed to sow more chaos? Real or not, they succeeded in cementing the legend of Jack the Ripper in the public imagination. He wasn't just a killer anymore. He was a phantom who taunted the very people trying to catch him. The police investigation was one of the largest London had ever seen. The streets of Whitechapel were flooded with officers. Detectives chased down every possible lead, no matter how outlandish. They interviewed hundreds of people and compiled a long list of suspects that was as varied as it was bizarre. Was he a doctor using his skills for evil? A butcher familiar with dismemberment? Some theories even pointed to high society figures, like politicians or even members of the royal family. Over the decades, more than 100 different individuals have been named as potential suspects. We've heard names like Montague Druitt, a barrister who was found dead shortly after the last murder, or Surin Kolosowski, also known as George Chapman, a convicted poisoner. There was even Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant who worked as a hairdresser and suffered from severe mental illness. Despite countless books, documentaries, and amateur investigations, not a single suspect has ever been definitively proven to be the Ripper. Even with the incredible advancements of modern forensic science, the case remains stubbornly unsolved. Attempts to extract and analyze DNA from artifacts, like a shawl supposedly found near one of the victims, have yielded conflicting and controversial results. Each new theory seems to raise more questions than answers. The trail has been cold for over 130 years, and the killer's identity is locked away in time. The mystery of Jack the Ripper did more than just create a legend. It held up a dark mirror to Victorian society. It exposed the brutal reality of life for the poor, the deep-seated corruption, and the shocking neglect of the most vulnerable citizens. It also highlighted the severe limitations of 19th-century criminal investigation. Without fingerprinting, advanced forensic techniques, or modern communication, the police were fighting a losing battle against a killer who knew how to exploit the darkness and chaos of the city. The Ripper's ability to commit these monstrous acts and then simply vanish into the London fog turned him into something more than a man. He became a symbol of the unknown, a boogeyman representing the darkness that can exist just beneath the surface of civilized society. He is a chilling reminder that sometimes evil doesn't come with a neat conclusion or a tidy explanation. Sometimes it leaves behind only questions. More than a century later, the story of Jack the Ripper continues to fascinate and horrify us. His name is synonymous with the unsolved crime, the perfect murder. His identity is still debated in books and online forums, his motives are still questioned by historians and criminologists, and his gruesome story is still retold again and again. In the end, who was Jack the Ripper? Was he a madman, a monster, or something else entirely? We will likely never know. He was more than just a murderer. He became a haunting figure, forever walking the foggy, gaslit streets of our imagination, leaving behind nothing but shadows, fear, and a legacy of unanswered questions. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you found this story as compelling as I do, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the dark corners of the past. Let me know in the comments who you think Jack the Ripper might have been. Thanks for watching.